Hello everyone, welcome back to the TJOmega channel for day 1075 of our daily content grind, and today I am bringing an idea that takes a little bit of a lot of things I've mentioned in previous videos and kind of lumps them all together into one singular format, and we are once again going to the old favorite of creating our own Transformer toy line. We've done this a few times for various goals in mind, but this one is about a lot of things really. It's about giving some unused G1 characters and some more obscurities a chance in a modern generations line. It's about filling in gaps, it's about giving toys a second chance, and it's about having a few fun alternatives along the way, and it's all based in one concept, and that is mechanical beasts. Because there is a lot across the Transformers universe, a lot of which we have not really seen in a proper light. So here's an opportunity to do so. And we're going to start with a very neglected pair that I think I would really like to see again because one of them was a childhood favorite of mine. We're talking Chain Claw and Catilla. Yeah, we're talking Beast Pretenders. When's the last time anyone ever really talked about Beast Pretenders in a loving way? But I had a Chain Claw as a kid. I really liked it as a kid. Simple figure, yes. Very scrawny bear, yes. But I thought it was cooler than the normal Pretenders. I thought, like, the animal shell, the big brown bear, was cooler than, like, some of those, like, Space Marine looking guys. It was, I don't know why it hit me, but it did. Now, for this, I'm listing these in order, just for the sake of making sense, but this is not like a release order. In my world, these would be probably separated, like Wave 1 and Wave 4, because they do transform very similarly. You could absolutely get away with retooling one from the other. The part about redoing the Pretender Beasts is you can't do the thing that the modern Pretenders do, which is incorporate the shell into the robot mode. Now, obviously, that's a little bit difficult, but what you can do is the opposite, where you can actually incorporate elements of the Beast Mode shell into the robotic Beast Mode. So you come up with kind of a Cyborg Transmetal 2 style aesthetic, where maybe this version of Chain Claw has the helmet and the guns already built into his back, along with, like, armor that has kind of like a fur texture to it and is that brown color. And, you could do the same thing with Catilla. It's especially important in some of them, like the next two, Carnivac and Snarler. One, because color-wise, Chain Claw and Catilla are very much similar. This gives you a chance to vary the color schemes and make them look more distinct from each other. And the same is true of these two, because these guys kind of have the same colors going on as if they were actually gang molded together. No way to really prove that in modern designs, but it really does look and feel like they were. So we can kind of get away with a similar thing here, where, like, I really do prefer the look of Snarler's shell over his beast mode. The purple and brown and, like, the pale teal blue, it's not a fun combination. It's the pink and the brown, it's ugly. It's not a pretty color scheme. But if we can kind of focus more on what the color of the beast mode shell was, then yeah, we can actually make him look a little bit better. This would probably be like a partial retool of each other because, yeah, they do have similar proportions in beast mode, even though one's supposed to be a wild boar and the other one's supposed to be a wolf. This would be one of those retools where we're reusing some parts of it. We've modified a lot, but enough to kind of call it a retool from one to the other. It's 60% new parts, but, whatever. I have to mention these because I want to show that this is like a practical list that can be done. Like, this is absolutely doable in the grand scheme of things. And at this point, you might be asking, why are you focusing on these nobodies? These guys never appeared in any fiction. Well, that's not fair. They did appear in the comic books. Carnivac is actually a really interesting character in the Marvel UK run. Like, every time I do a video where I have to look up Carnivac for some reason, I always go, huh, he's actually cool. They should do something different with him. Okay, but we need diversity and we need heavy hitters. Okay, so this is the plan. Now, this is just a basis. You know, get some classic, obscure G1 characters out there that a lot of the modern lines have been doing. But we need that anchor. We need that thing that draws in collectors and fans. This is how you get Transmetals out. You base an entire line on this. You base an entire line on robotic beasts, so now the Transmetals have a place to go. And yet Rat Trap, Cheetor, and Tarantulas fill out my deluxe waves. This is just the way to do it. It's simply just the way to do it. And Hasbro's going to love these because Generation Selects, online exclusives, they are going to eat up repaint after repaint of the Transmetals. All of them had a few changes, whether you want to go Fox Kids repaints, you know, the Armada version of Cheetor, you know, the blue Rat Trap. You know, you've got plenty of ways to reuse these molds. So I'm not worried about them getting like repainted or redone in this line. With one exception we'll get to in a minute. But there is another point of contention here. And this one kind of goes against it, but I think we can make it work. Because if we're going to fill in Beast Wars and we're going to finish off Beast Wars, we need to get Quickstrike in there. I don't know how he managed to go this long without getting any kind of figure. Silverbolt's got one. Silverbolt's got a toy. It's time for Quickstrike. Now, Quickstrike is kind of cheating here because technically his form is entirely organic, but it's not the most realistic color for like a Scorpion because in the show he is rather shiny and metallic. You can actually take you know, a little bit of Transmetal look to him, even though he's not technically a Transmetal. You can play with that. You can actually give him a somewhat more mechanical finish. You know, make him look more like he is metallic, and he's going to fit in just enough. More to the point, this is probably going to be the only way the poor guy is going to get a toy, is if we pack him in with a bunch of heavy hitter Beast Wars characters. You know, because a retailer at this point is going to recognize Cheetor, for instance. You know, because of course they are. I've got a few more tricks for getting people behind, you know, for getting like retailers behind this line, as far as like dropping names in there. But and that does include the next one, because there is one retool we have to do. If we're doing a new Transmetal Cheetor, we got to do a new Ravage. We have to do a new Ravage. So, the thing I love about this one is that we're not going to call it just Predicon Ravage. I literally want to call it Metals Ravage, because that's what every fan knows this design as. And I don't want it to be similar to that like multi-pack we got from years back. I want it to look like the toy. I want it to be a literal retool of the Cheetor the same way the original toy was. You know, for all of us, you know, well, I guess not, because I have one. But for all those people who like always longed after this toy, because this was like the grail figure to get from Beast Wars for a long, long time. Because Ravage was such a cool character, and he never came out in America, so this was the way to get it. You had to import it, and it was always crazy expensive. So here's an option. Here's a way of getting it, even if it is a remake of the figure. At least you have some way of like touching base and having it the way it originally was. I'm not done with Cheetor. I'm not done with Cheetor because I want to work his Transmetal 2 in there as well, because this is going to be a very short window of opportunity to finish off Beast Wars, and I want to get in everything. I want to get all of it in there. So Cheetor, I'm imagining if Quickstrike is that small deluxe in the wave, then Cheetor is going to be later on. He'll probably be like wave 5, and he'll be larger, you know, because he eats some of the budget that Quickstrike doesn't take up. That way, across the three, because the original Cheetor was on the small side for a deluxe, you can make the Transmetal a normal size, and then because Quickstrike is going to be on the cheaper side to produce, you can add that budget into the Cheetor and make him a little bit bigger. And again, Trypticon Agent repaint on the way. Again, I'm not worried about repainting him within this toy line. Now, this is still kind of thin. We have to remember, when it comes to retailers, they are looking for the big, heavy hitter characters. They want the icons of the franchise because those are the ones they know will sell. That's what sells the series to the retailers. We want to make sure that's done too. I have to be tricky here. So I want to throw in a couple of heavy hitter Transformer names, and I figured out how to do it. We're going to put in Optimus and Grimlock. At the deluxe size, using these designs. We're already playing with Pretenders, so I want to do an homage to Pretender Grimlock, where the torso of the beast mode turns into the legs, and the tail becomes one big weapon. I want to homage that original style of that Grimlock. Updated articulation and transformation scheme, obviously. But I think it'd be a fun alternative. It would put a Grimlock out that isn't $55, so it's a Grimlock kids could buy, or it's a Grimlock that's a nice fit on your desk. That kind of toy. And then, yes, I want that Alligator Optimus. The fact that we got a Skullgrin toy in Titan's Return and never got that is a shame. Someone at Hasbro Takara should be ashamed they never pulled the trigger on that. It lets us sneak an Optimus Prime into the line. And it's a very weird one that a lot of hardcore fans have been kind of hoping they do some weird toy of, so here's our opportunity. They've shown recently that they are willing to reuse molds from all the way back to Titan's Return. And it actually, like, Skull Cruncher would not be that difficult. Like, you retool the head of the croc to just be one solid piece that's hollow on the backside and then just folds over where the head is. You just retool the torso and head to not be the headmaster thing. Boom. There's your Optimus Prime as an Alligator-con. Super weird release. They should have done it when that toy was fresh. Alright, so as long as we can still get away with it, we're going to do it. So that's going to round out my deluxes. We got some weird characters in there. We got some heavy hitters. We got the rest of the Beast cast in there. Now, we still got more work on that to go, but we're going to go down to the core class next because I was kind of struggling to figure out what to do with the core class. But then I decided, let's expand on what the deluxes are doing, and let's have a little bit of fun with it. And by fun with it, I mean I'm going to do a set of Insecticons. Yes, they just got a set of deluxes. However, at core class, we are talking troop builder. We are talking army of clones. We are talking swarms of Insecticons. A plague of Insecticons, if you will. That $10 price point is such a good one for like little troop builder characters like this. And you put one per wave and you just let it go nuts, right? So you've got tons of little bugs running around. This is going to be one where like if they if they have to put them on clearance, you know everyone's going to buy every single one they see, right? Because you're going to want hordes of Insecticons to go with your deluxes. All the clones and hordes that they should have. Much cheaper way of troop building. I also wanted to continue what Core was doing with the Pretenders. Since we're playing with Pretenders in the Deluxe class, I wanted to do the same in Core and kind of expand on what they did previously. I admit I'm still kind of critical of a lot of what they were doing at that size, but that doesn't mean that it's completely closed off. So let's expand on it. Submarauder was an obvious one to add in, because, you know, he's one of the classics that didn't get representation the last time we tried Pretenders. But the other one is going to be another obscure pull. You probably wonder who that is. That is Pincher. That is one of the smaller Pretenders from later on in the run, and it's an Autobot. See, the thing about the core Pretenders, we don't have an Autobot amongst them. So this is a way of balancing out, and I wanted to throw in that Arachnid to kind of counterbalance the Insecticons. It does mean the core class is full of a bunch of bugs. However, this does kind of give them a little bit of, it gives both Submarauder someone to fight, and it gives the Insecticons someone to fight at this size class. Makes sense to me. Also, his shell is actually kind of cool looking, and to reinterpret that as his robot mode, which is kind of on the dull side, I think would actually make for a pretty fun figure. So that's where I'm going with this one, just to be a little bit fair, because I will admit this is going to end up very Decepticon heavy by the time we're done. If you see the next lineup I have, you will know why. So I needed to throw in whatever Autobot I could somewhere. And again, this is a line to give the obscurities a chance, because Insecticons will sell no problem. The rest have to do the backup. But that does mean we need one more, and that is a slot to actually throw in something else that is guaranteed to sell. And this might cheat, because they don't do it this way anymore, but I wanted to be Slugfest and Overkill. Yes, as a 2-pack. I'm sick of this giant accessory thing for the sake of making it seem like it's worth $10, and then you still know, no, this is not worth $10. This doesn't even come close to some of the better core figures. So, no, we're going to do it the old-fashioned way. We're just going to do Slugfest and Overkill. We're not going to overcomplicate their engineering. It's just going to be what they need to be so they can actually get out and join the other cassettes. Minor, small, simple accessories. Nothing overly involved or complicated. Just plain cassettes. Because I hate buying these things one at a time. Even I don't care how big Steeljaw speaker is. I don't care if you came with the pile drivers. You're still not worth the $10. The other cores feel much better than this one does. So we're gonna 2-pack it. I might be cheating with that, but I don't care. My toy line. Let's move up to Voyagers. And now, when I tell you that, Generations Primeval, which I had on the first slide and just now realized I never even mentioned that I named this line. So, for Generations Primeval, a lot of this is about trying, not only getting the obscure characters a chance, but fill in the gaps, but I also want to try to redo things. Now, recently, we just got announced that Studio Series is doing all the Constructicons again, because there's still a lot of people who weren't fans of how the Combiner War Constructicons came out. And I thought to myself, well, if that works there, then we can do the Predicons again, can't we? We can do Predicons again, can't we? Okay, so I have marked Headstrong and Dive Bomb as individual Voyager class releases because I feel like that puts some variety out on the shelves. Again, you'd have to separate them because they're very similar colors, but obviously the beast modes are very distinct from each other, so that's fine. We need to spread the rest out, though, in order to get them all out of the same line. So that means Razer Claw is going to end up at the leader class, and he's going to be one of those super dense leaders. He'll be on the small side, so he's still in scale with the Voyagers, which will be on the large size, probably. And then he's going to have to take the bulk of the engineering to get them combined. So that's where your leader price point is going to come in. Just to make sure that the budget is there to actually make this work, right? Because you got to do something. Because, if he's going to be the similar size of the others, but he's also going to be the torso of the Combiner, he's going to need the extra budget to handle it all. And then we're going to pull the same trick that they're doing with the Commander Constructicons, and we're going to 2-pack the last of them. And in order to make up the bulk, they are going to also include all the parts you need to actually build Predic King, which I assume you will either be able to combine into some weapon platform for everybody, or in a wild world, all of the parts would combine into an additional beast, which I think would be very difficult to engineer, but really sick to see. I think it'd be really cool. Regardless, that's got to be how it's done if we're going to get everything out in the same line in the same year, the same way they're doing with the Constructicons. But yeah, I know a lot of people want that Predic King to be redone. I really wouldn't mind it, so here's an opportunity to do that. Now, who is next on our list? Okay, yeah, we got to go into more Voyagers, and we got to fill out more of the Beast Wars cast, don't we? So we're going to throw in Optimus Primal and Megatron. Primal's going to be on the smaller side, and then Megatron is probably, hopefully going to be on the larger side of things. Now, he really should be a leader. But at the last minute, and originally I was going to put him as a leader, but at the last minute I realized there was a mission that has to be included, and we have to throw him in. I'll tell you what that one is in a minute. However, I couldn't not leave out anything else from Beast Wars that has been skipped. We have to get all the extra Transmetals in there. So Megatron has to be bumped down to a Voyager. Still going to be a good toy, because it's a great design. It's not going to have GPS this time. But if we're going to do everything from Beast Wars, that means we still have to do Rampage and Depth Charge. Depth Charge, again, is going to be on the larger side because, remember, the bulk of his beast mode is made up of those big flat wings. So he's going to end up having some good size and bulk to him, no matter what you do, because all that bulk is going to go into the robot parts. Rampage, because you are going to have to include the tank mode. I should say on a lot of these, I'm not worried about the third mode. I could care less if they're included. If you do, they would be heavily simplified. But for for depth charge, it's easy. Just fold out his wings in a different arrangement. Rampage changes so much for his. I feel like you're going to have to figure out something. You're not going to get the working treads that the original toy had, so that's going to be a really difficult bit of engineering to figure out. Leader class is going to provide you the budget to actually make that work. Also, he just has way more bulk and kibble than depth charge does, so he's got to be up there in leader class for the price point of it. Now, one more spot in leader class, and I felt like I'm sticking to a lot of G1 and Beast Wars here, and I really wanted to diversify this a little bit more. I wanted to throw in something else, and then this is where Megatron got bumped down. Because I realized if we're doing mechanical beasts, how can I not include my favorite? How can I not include Beast Wars' second Galvatron in this list? Now, my ideal would be he'd be a commander class at some point. Just this really super big, beefy version of this character. The full, triple changing transformation and everything. But I will admit he'd probably just end up somewhere at the leader so he doesn't dwarf Lio Convoy in size. That's just my assumption here. Also, I am assuming at some point Big Convoy is going to come out as a commander. So I'm gonna let the leaders stay somewhat similar sizes to each other. But yeah, this would be an opportunity to get this design out. I love this design so much. I want this design back on a shelf so badly. And it feels like, if Hasbro's gonna fill in gaps, the remaining leaders from the Japanese Beast Wars series are absolutely gaps they still need to fill. Especially if we're talking this line, which is all about filling in a few of the Megatrons and Optimus that we don't have yet. That does leave the Titan. And this one was difficult because, Trypticon was, like Scorponok and Trypticon were the first ones that come to my mind. I'm like, how do you even throw those in at this point? Like, they both have Titans already. But then I realized it's my line and we can get away with doing whatever I want. So, in spite of it being technically part of Studio Series, I gotta throw this Trypticon in. We have to throw in the War for Cybertron Trypticon. It's just such an amazing design, and I would love to see it as an actual toy so badly. Yeah, Generations can borrow from literally anywhere. Let's be honest. Generations, long before it started in with this trilogy thing that they do now, long before, they were already doing those high moon transformer designs. So this is not really encroaching. This is going back to the origin of the Generations line, as far as I'm concerned. And also, there isn't many other options. The only other idea I had was like maybe the Axelon if it had a beast mode along with a robot mode, but that might be asking a little much. And I also don't know what animal you turn it into. Also, yeah. So, this would be the end. However, I do hear you crying out. I know you've already gone to the comments section. Where is he? Because, yes, if I'm completing Beast Wars with this line, if the intention of this line is to complete Beast Wars and get all those Transmetals out, in a toy line where it makes sense for the Transmetals to be included, along with all these other robotic beasts. Yes, there is one omission from Beast Wars we still have to include. Admittedly, I came up with this format thinking I would have space, and then realizing I didn't. This is all based on the Earthrise distribution, by the way. Those toy numbers, because I think that's a nice round series to base something like this off of. They had 5 Voyager toys. We can technically sneak one more in. It's not going to hurt anything, so okay, we need Transmetal 2 Dinobot in here as well. I'm not going to leave him out. Okay? Of course he's going to be in there. He's going to be a Voyager, so we can have the engineering to stay together and be a nice, solid take on Dinobot. He's the same size as the original Dinobot, so that's a good, appropriate spot for him to be. And it's one of my favorite Beast Wars designs, so absolutely we're going to throw him in. Absolutely he's included. It makes my format look like garbage now, but that's okay, because now all missions are accomplished. Beast Wars is finished. Some of my favorites are getting toys. We're getting to do the Predicons again. We're getting out more of the Pretenders. We're getting some obscure G1s that would otherwise not get any other chance. We're getting troop building Insecticons. And we are getting the last of Soundwave's on-screen cassettes. I think that's a job well done. So I'm going to wrap it up here, and I'll let you guys tell me in the comments section what you think of Transformers Generations Primeval. That's such a cool name, and I didn't drop it at the top of the video, because I'm a professional like that. But still, nevertheless, let me know what you thought in the comments below, and as always, I will see you next time.